Am I the asshole for refusing to let my sister move back in after she violated my privacy and stole from me? I 28F, have a younger sister, Megan, 26F. We grew up close but very different. I've always been the more reserved, organized, responsible a sibling, while Megan is more spontaneous, emotional, and prone to getting into trouble. Despite our differences, I love her to death. Growing up, I was the protective older sister, always there for her when she needed me. 3 years ago, I bought my first home, a modest 2-bedroom house that I'm really proud of. I worked hard to save up for it, juggling 2 jobs while going to college, and it feels like my safe haven. Over the years, Megan has had a string of unstable relationships, financial issues, and general life chaos. It's become almost routine for her to call me when she's in trouble, and I've bailed her out financially more times than I can count. I wouldn't say I'm wealthy, but I've got a steady job, and I know how to budget. Megan, on the other hand, has a habit of spending impulsively, whether on clothes, gadgets, or going out with friends. When things get rough, she turns to me for help, and I usually can't say no. About 6 months ago, Megan called me in tears. She had broken up with her boyfriend, lost her job, and was about to get evicted because she couldn't pay her rent. She asked if she could move in with me for a couple of months, until she got back on her feet. I was hesitant because I knew how chaotic things could get with her, but I felt bad seeing her so upset and figured she'd never ask if it weren't truly dire. So, I agreed on a few conditions. She would look for a job actively, contribute to groceries and utilities, and respect my privacy, particularly by not going into my home office, where I keep important personal and work-related documents. At first, things went okay. Megan seemed genuinely grateful and even tried to keep the place tidy. She did small things like making coffee in the mornings or washing dishes after meals, which I appreciated. But as weeks went by, I noticed that she wasn't really making an effort to find a job. She'd sleep until noon, lounge around watching TV, and go out with friends in the evenings. Every time I brought up the job search, she had an excuse: I'm just so tired from everything, or I just need one more week to get my head straight. After about 3 months, I started to feel really taken advantage of. She hadn't contributed a dime toward any expenses, and I was covering all the bills on my own. One evening, I decided to have a serious talk with her about her plans and reminded her that this arrangement was supposed to be temporary. She got defensive, saying I didn't understand how hard things were for her, and implied that because I was financially stable, I shouldn't care so much about a few extra bills. I tried to keep calm, but the conversation ended with her storming off and avoiding me for days. Then, things got worse. One afternoon while I was at work, I got an email from my credit card company about suspicious activity. They flagged a few expensive purchases, stuff I'd never buy, like a high-end tablet, designer clothes, and even a spa day package. I froze, realizing my credit card must have been used without my permission. When I got home, I confronted Megan, but she denied it and acted shocked that I'd even suspect her. Not wanting to accuse her unfairly, I decided to look around my office, the one room I told her was off limits. I felt terrible snooping, but I needed to know the truth. Sure enough, hidden under a pile of papers in one of her bags was my missing credit card. It was like a punch in the gut. Not only had she violated my trust and ignored my boundaries, but she'd also stolen from me. When I confronted her again, she broke down, crying and apologizing, saying she'd been desperate. She told me she'd planned to surprise me with something nice once she found a job and paid off what she'd spent. She kept repeating that she didn't mean to hurt me and begged me to give her another chance. I was furious and heartbroken but reluctantly agreed to let her stay, provided she returned everything and paid me back. She promised she would. But weeks went by, and I saw no effort from her to make amends. She still wasn't looking for a job, hadn't returned any of the items, and wasn't paying me back. Whenever I brought it up, she'd get emotional, saying I didn't understand how hard it was to feel lost, and how I was being unfair. It became exhausting to live with her, and my mental health started to suffer from constantly walking on eggshells. Finally, I gave her an ultimatum: either start making payments and show proof of job applications within the next 2 weeks or find somewhere else to live. She accused me of being heartless and said I was abandoning her in her time of need. The argument got heated, and I told her she had 2 weeks to leave. She stormed out, saying she'd figure it out without me. Now, she's staying with our parents, who are furious with me. They think I should have been more understanding, arguing that Megan just needs some time and that family should support each other unconditionally. They're angry that I kicked her out and think I'm being too harsh, especially since I can afford it. Megan has also started telling extended family members that I abandoned her, and now a few relatives are reaching out, saying they're disappointed in me. I feel completely blindsided by how quickly the narrative turned against me. I do feel guilty. Megan is my sister, and I know she's going through a hard time. But at the same time, I feel like she betrayed my trust and took advantage of my kindness. I tried to help her, but she crossed a line. It's not even about the money, it's about respect, trust, and accountability. I the asshole for refusing to let my sister move back in after she violated my privacy and stole from me? Or should I have been more forgiving, considering she's family?